If you started the year with big financial goals and you're thinking, well, this year didn't exactly go as planned, you're definitely not alone. The good news is you don't need to wait until January to make meaningful progress. You still have 5 to 6 months left out of the year. And on top of that, I personally believe that anyone can start improving their finances at any time. Today is better than later, and it's definitely better than never. So in this video, I'm gonna cover the 12 money moves that you should focus on in order if you wanna make meaningful progress on your finances. This way, if you start now, you will be hitting the ground running in 2027. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lissa. I'm a certified financial planner and an accredited financial counselor. I help women build wealth and build an abundant mindset. So if that's your vibe, make sure you subscribe. Now, a quick preface. If you've been around my channel for some time and you've been learning from me, some of the ideas in this video are going to sound familiar, and that's very intentional. I've made entire videos on these subjects: budgeting, paying off debt, investing, emergency funds, because these are the fundamentals that actually build wealth in the long run. The difference today is that I'm putting them together for you in one roadmap so that you know exactly what to focus on starting today to end the year strong with your money. I think most people struggle not because they don't know enough about money, but I think they struggle because sometimes they don't know what to prioritize first. Personal finance has all of these moving parts. It's hard to know what's the most important when you have limited time, limited energy, and limited resources. So let's jump right in. Money move number 1. Absolutely critical, know where you stand. If you were my client, the first thing I would have you do is figure out exactly where you stand financially. And practically, this might look like calculating your net worth. If you've never done this before, don't worry. It sounds more intimidating than it is. Your net worth is simply a number. It's a dollar figure of everything you own minus everything you owe. What it gives you is a snapshot of your current finances. It's not a report card. It doesn't tell you, are you doing absolutely great or terrible? It's literally like, what is your financial situation today? It is your starting point. It is what you can build upon so that 6 months from now, a year from now, you can see that you've improved. I'll drop a resource and all the resources in the description because I do have some free tools for helping you calculate these things. And I'll also share the tools that I personally use as well. Knowing where you're at is so critical because this gives you information on what to do next and how to approach your finances. Money move number 2, follow your money. So now you have your net worth, you know the state of your finances. Next, before you change anything, you want to understand where your money has actually been going. What happens when money comes in, like you get paid at your job, and how does the money get distributed and how does it go out? In other words, calculate your cash flow. Take a look at how much money comes in versus goes out for at least the span of a month. I personally recommend looking at the last 3 months, the last 90 days, instead of just 1 month, because oftentimes you'll start to see that some things are one-offs. Some things don't happen every month. Some months can be unusual. So the more months you look at of your cash flow, money in versus money out, this gives you a better picture of your habits altogether. So there are manual ways to do this, which I'll drop my free tracker in the description. But I personally like to use tools like Monarch Money. I used to use YNAB and I recently switched to Monarch, which I'll make a video about it in the future as to why I made the change. Both are great apps, but it just depends on what you're looking for and how it fits into your money management system. I like using tools like Monarch because it saves a lot of manual labor in trying to sort through transactions or export CSV files and import them and organize it. So it saves a lot of headache, especially for those who aren't super tech savvy when it comes to things like spreadsheets. Whatever approach you use, the goal is to look at all of your transactions in the last 90 days. Ask yourself, where is my money going? Does anything look surprising here? What am I spending on that I don't actually value? What am I spending on that I do value and that I should keep continuing to spend on? Here's kind of the harsh reality that I have to tell people sometimes. It's that often people think they have an income problem, like they don't make enough money to support their lifestyle, when actually the problem is simply a visibility problem. It's not knowing where your money goes. It's not having a control over it. It's not being intentional with how you spend your money and make financial decisions, and just kind of falling into it. So following your money gives you this visibility. When you can understand your cash flow, this alone allows you to start making intentional decisions starting today instead of just guessing. Once you have that information along with your net worth, which was the first money move, now you're in a better position to start organizing your money. Money move number 3, build one money system. One of the biggest improvements that I've personally made is getting everything into one place. I am a personal finance expert. I'm a certified financial planner. I love tracking everything. I don't think it's a waste of my time to do so, but I will say I kind of overcomplicated it at one point. So recently I've simplified. Like I mentioned earlier, I moved to Monarch Money, which gives me a bird's eye view of everything. All of my checking and savings accounts, my investment accounts, all of my spending, my credit cards, and some debts that I have. This is not a sponsored video, but I think it should be. But the other upside that I like with Monarch is it helps me manage my finances with my husband really well, because it has a mine, yours, and ours approach where you can designate certain accounts and expenses as these are mine, coming out of my budget, versus his, versus ours together. And that's the change I really needed in the last few years when I got married and started combining more things with my husband. Now, lucky for me, we've always been transparent with our money with each other, but having it in one place also helps him because he never used to track anything. So it's kind of like this middle ground that we found that works for the both of us and feels way more organized and manageable. I'll drop my link for Monarch in the description as well. If you don't have a system, highly recommend trying it. There's a free trial and also a discount if you sign up through my link. Now, Monarch aside, if you don't want to use a tool like that, the simple goal here is to have a bird's eye view of all of your accounts. Understanding what checking accounts and savings accounts do I have? What investment accounts do I have? I found out that a lot of people don't even know they have a 401k. They were automatically enrolled, and because they don't know how it works, they don't really pay attention to it. You want to know everything you have. That includes insurance policies, payment accounts, because sometimes people end up leaving money, cash, in their payment accounts, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. And while there are pros and cons to doing that, the bottom line is you need to know where all of your money is. When you have this clarity, it starts to build your confidence with money. And once you've built this one central system, it unlocks your ability to start making things run more efficiently. Which leads me to money move number 4. Put your money on autopilot. People who are good with money basically have good systems. You don't have to rely on yourself to remember every transfer or every payment, every bill that's due. If you can automate a lot of this, it helps you run your finances smoothly. And the best part is with a lot less effort, a lot less time and energy spent. So automations can happen with your savings through direct deposits or automatic transfers. It can happen through investing by making regular transfers into investing accounts. It can be automatic payments towards your credit cards or your debts, so long as you know you have enough in your various bank accounts. You don't have to overhaul everything overnight, especially if this money move is new to you, but literally start with one thing. Start with that one financial decision that you can automate that's going to save future you from time, energy, and money. Maybe that's splitting your direct deposit, your paycheck going into one account, and splitting it into 2 accounts. Maybe a small amount goes directly to a savings account. Once you build up these automations and it becomes second nature, you'll see how smooth your system runs, and then you can continue to strengthen the foundation and find more ways to make your finances more efficient. Money move number 5, Build your emergency fund. I probably won't spend a lot of time on this because it's all over my channel. I should do an analysis to see how many videos mention the word emergency fund. I bet you it's a high percentage. So if you're a regular viewer on my channel, you've probably heard me talk about emergency funds. I think this is one of the most important financial foundations you can build. I think everyone should have one, and I want everyone to stop thinking about it just as money sitting in a savings account. I want you to compartmentalize it and think of it as a safety cushion, a safety net. And what it does is it buys options for you. It gives you breathing room when something in life happens. It gives you peace of mind to know that you can do other things in your finances without having to worry about, oh, what happens if I lose my income or have a medical emergency or something else that I can't predict or expect. If you're starting from zero and you don't have one already, don't worry about saving up 6 months of expenses overnight. Start with a small, manageable goal. Could be $500 or $1,000, and then start funding it. Any progress is still progress. Once you create that initial cushion and continue to build it, you're going to continue to be in a better position to make smarter decisions with your money, which leads me to money move number 6. Pick one debt strategy. This only applies if you hold debt, and technically if you only have one debt that you're paying, like one credit card or one loan, then you might not even need a strategy. All you got to do is make your minimum payments plus any extra you can put towards that debt. For the rest of you who might hold multiple debts, what I want you to know is there are a lot of ways to pay off debt. In fact, I recently made an entire video explaining all the different strategies because there isn't one perfect approach or answer for everyone. I would recommend checking that out if you do have a lot of debt or multiple debts and you want some clarity on how to approach it. But in terms of this video today, what I want you to remember is if you don't have a current strategy on how you're attacking your debt, pick one. This is absolutely something you can do in the next few weeks or next few months before the end of the year so that you have a solid plan and strategy on how you're going to attack debt and pay it off eventually. The most important thing with debt is consistency. Consistency almost always beats changing your plan every single month and not knowing how much you're going to put towards this debt or that debt. And if you've done all the money moves I've mentioned in this video leading up to this, you're in a prime position to figure out what that strategy is, right? You have a bird's eye view of your finances. You've followed your money. You know where your cash flow is going. You've already started to build an emergency fund, so you know you have that cushion. Now you can dedicate regular amounts towards your debt and have it be consistent from month to month. All of those steps before this help you approach your debt with a better plan. Money move number 7, start or increase your investing. Now there's a small asterisk here. If you are paying down a lot of high interest or consumer debt, it could be hard to start investing or increase your investing. Oftentimes, if you do the numbers, paying off that debt first prevents you from paying more interest, which equates to a for sure return on your money, on your investment, right? If you're paying off your debt, you're going to be paying less interest, and that's a for sure thing. That's why sometimes it makes more sense to do that than to start investing where you're putting your money in and there's no certainty with it growing, and you kind of have to invest longer term to see returns. But in this money move, for those of you where that doesn't apply or who can manage it, it's time to start putting your money to work. If you've been avoiding investing because you feel like you're behind or you feel like you don't know enough, I want to remind you that that's not true, right? You're not behind. It's not a race. You're not racing other people. You simply have to start from where you're at today. So if you're already investing, and that includes in a retirement account, think about, do you have the capacity to increase your contributions? And if you're not yet investing, think about, what will it take for me to feel confident enough to start? Do I need to have X amount of an emergency fund? Do I need to pay off that debt first? If you haven't thought about this in a meaningful way, think about it now. Figure out what that blocker is for you. And then once you've moved past that blocker, start or increase your investing. This is truly how you're going to build wealth in the long run. And I know it can be a confusing, hard topic. I have other videos on it. But for today's roadmap in getting you to a stronger place before the end of the year with your finances, the takeaway is very simple. You have to start, right? Start small if you need to, but start. Now, up until this point of the video, we've been talking a lot about managing the money you already have. And I think that's a smart way to go when you're trying to improve your finances. But I think a money move you can kick off now and get somewhere meaningful in 6 months by the end of the year is work towards creating more money. Money move number 8, grow your income. So let me reiterate, everything we've talked about in this video so far is important. Saving money is important. Having a good money management system is important, including your budgeting. Being smarter about spending is important. So I want you to think about one realistic way to increase your income in the next 6 months. Is that asking for a raise because you're long overdue for one? If you fall into that bucket, talk to your manager. Bring it up. Are you at a job where you've hit a ceiling? If that's the case, is this next 6 months a good opportunity for you to apply for new jobs? I honestly think the best time to apply for new jobs is not when you're afraid of losing your current job. It's when you're doing it proactively because nobody at your job has to know, and you can just do it to shop around. See what's out there, see what offers you get, and then make the decision later of whether or not you actually want to leave, right? Changing careers is a big deal, and it takes a lot of thought and a lot of time and effort. But if increasing your income is important to you and can make a big impact in how you approach your finances and how you improve your finances, then 6 months is plenty of time to plant some seeds, to start going down that path to see what's out there and how you could possibly increase your income going into the next year. Now, if you don't want to do that, there are other things you can do. You can freelance, you can sell things you no longer need, you can teach other people skills, you can pick up seasonal work. Even a few $100s a month for just a few extra hours a month can completely change your financial picture. For example, a temporary side hustle or part-time job could help you build your emergency fund faster, it can help you start investing sooner, and it can help you pay off your debt a lot quicker. I won't belabor the point because obviously we all know more money, more income, more resources is going to help your finances. Money move number 9, protect your progress. So this one probably is not the most exciting one on the list, and if I'm honest, it wasn't until I became a certified financial planner that I realized how important these things were. When I say protect your progress, this includes things like reviewing and understanding your insurance policies, checking your beneficiaries on your accounts and setting them if you don't have any, and if you have estate planning documents, making sure that they're up to date and that you know what's in them. These things are the kinds of financial tasks that a lot of people put off because they don't feel urgent. And a lot of times people don't understand what they actually are. So all these things I mentioned, they protect what you're building. Insurance, as much as we hate paying insurance premiums for medical insurance, car insurance, homeowners insurance, etc., insurance is a financial product that reduces your risk. Depending on the type of insurance, it can limit the amount that you would have to pay if something were to happen, if some event were to happen. Your beneficiaries. Beneficiaries are essentially the people who would get your assets, your money, if something were to happen to you. So even if something were to happen to you, you passed away, it doesn't benefit you financially. It benefits what you've built, the money and assets that you've built, and can help your loved ones, the people that you leave behind. And the same thing goes for estate planning documents. A big mindset shift to make as you're building wealth is that building wealth is kind of only half the job. Protecting your wealth is the other half. There are whole policies and tax systems that a lot of us don't really think about, like transfer taxes at death and things like that, that are really major. They're all very critical for generational wealth and passing money on to your family and giving others opportunities in the future. Like, yes, you should build wealth for yourself and enjoy it in your life while you can. But for many people, You probably also have people that you love that you want to protect and take care of if something were to happen to you. So that all fits into this bucket. Between now and the end of the year, if you only do a few things, let it be this. Review your medical insurance because most people have their open enrollment periods at the end of the year, so get ahead of it. Understand what your current coverage is and think about whether or not you want to change it. Check and update your beneficiaries because the last thing you want is money being left to someone that is no longer in your life because you didn't check your beneficiaries. And you also want money left to who you want it to go to. So check your beneficiaries and update them. And then if you want to be an overachiever, by the end of the year, I would urge you to watch a video or do a little bit of research to learn a little bit about estate planning. What are wills? What are trusts? What are powers of attorney? Those are the types of things that as you build wealth and go into 2027, you want to start learning more about. And like I said, for most people, especially if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, a lot of this feels less urgent until one day it is. So get ahead of it and add it to your list of things to do in the next 6 months, and future you will thank yourself for it. Money move number 10. This one is specific to being mid-year and planning for the end of the year. And that is to start planning for holiday spending. I might make a whole video on this, TBD. Let me know if you guys want to see that. I know it feels early. It's July. Most of you will probably watch this in July or August, well before the holidays. But every year, people always tell me that the holidays somehow snuck up on them. And then they end up spending more in November, December. And they end up starting the next year in a little bit of a hole. So take 10 minutes, sit down and start planning. Are you going to be buying gifts this holiday season? Are you going to be traveling? Are you going to be hosting family at your home? Think about what that will look like for you and start setting aside a little bit of money every month between now and the end of the year if you expect to spend more in the last few months of the year. This is called a sinking fund. Estimate an amount you might need, divide it by the number of months, and then start putting that amount aside every month. Money move number 11. This one I think is pretty straightforward, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, and that is to schedule monthly money dates. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you went into 2026 with these high hopes of how you were going to improve your finances, and maybe you haven't made as much progress as you had hoped, that's okay. But one way you can change this for the second half of the year is to be more consistent. If you can schedule regular monthly money dates, or weekly if you want to, this holds you accountable to continuously working on your finances. So schedule an hour a month or 30 minutes every other week and use this time to do all the things that we've talked about in this video. If you dedicate time to it and just do one thing at a time, you will make progress this second half of the year. I promise you. You can use the time to review your spending, to check in on your budgeting app if you ended up using Monarch, or if you do it manually. Use this time to check your goals, to look at your net worth, to fix those beneficiaries we've talked about. Set this regular time to make sure everything is being pushed forward and not being left behind. And that brings us to the final money move, which is, I would say, the easiest, but probably the one that most of you forget to do all the time. And that is to celebrate your progress. After all these money moves, I do not want you to get overwhelmed and think about this long laundry list of things that you don't think you'll be able to do by the end of the year. It's too much to handle, too much to manage. I simply want you to recognize what you have accomplished. If you did one of the 12 money moves in this video, that is progress. Maybe you've paid off an entire debt. Maybe you've brought a debt down a little bit. Maybe you've fully funded your emergency fund, or maybe you've funded it for the first time with your first $100. Every single one of these things can be considered a win if you view it as such. I'm a big believer in the mindset piece of improving your finances just as much as the actual practical dollar figure side. My goal in this video wasn't to teach you new information that I haven't talked about on my channel before. It's simply to help you prioritize. These are the moves that I would suggest if you want to make the next 6 months really meaningful and hit the ground running next year, these are the things I would recommend and focus on. And I would start simple, one thing at a time. So work on these foundations, and I genuinely believe you will start 2027 feeling more organized, more intentional, and definitely more financially confident. I hope this was helpful, and until next time, peace out.